And what's up, hockey fans, and welcome to episode number 77 of Marty's Illegal Stick Hockey Podcast. Recording here on, May 17th of 2022. I'm all screwed up. There's too much excitement in the air for me today. Way too much. Oh, boy. Well, hey, listen, we have got a special edition of this show because we've got one topic to talk about and one topic only, and that is the Utica Comets getting ready for Game 4 tonight against the Rochester Americans. It's do or die for the Comets. Before we bring our guests in, of course, I'm going to bring in my trusty sidekick, my producer. We were just talking earlier how you'll become like a young Jedi of hockey. It's been incredible.
Was funny.
What a journey you've had from not knowing anything about hockey to just almost being an expert.
No, I'm nowhere near that.
Well,
you guys whip these names out of teams. You ask who played goal for the Rangers in 1940, and you give me a name.
Well, hey,
don't look it up.
I just did. No, it's Dave the Save Warner. How are you, buddy?
All right, I'm doing great. Looking forward to this show and looking forward to the game tonight.
Oh boy, so are we. Yep. So are we. And I'm going to bring our guests in. We've got two guests. The other one's not here yet, but of course we have got the Balls Army is in the house. Josh Amodio representing that Balls Army. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing great. I obviously we have to get started with who's out?
Balls out.
All right.
Awesome. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, Scott. Thank you again for having the Balls Army back on the show.
Hey, anytime. You guys are so much fun. I got to tell you. I mean, I'm in 205. You're in what? 202, right?
203.
203. And you have no idea how much of a pleasure it is to listen to you guys.
Thank you. It's been a fun year. Certainly, it started with balls with the Balls Army and Balls Out, and of course, it's grown from there. It's grown from there.
You guys are like celebrities.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely a lot of fun walking through that auditorium.
Well, anyways, you've had a great year, and we're hoping it continues because, like I said, tonight it's do or die for our Comets. I guess we're going to go over the series real quick here. Oh, hold on. I got one message coming in, and let me see. It's Neil. He's having trouble getting on. So can you send him the link again, please?
Okay. I don't have his email, but
okay.
You got to do that for me.
All right. Well, give me just a second here, and
text it to me, and I'll get it to him.
Okay.
That's a good time to take a drink.
Boy, all right.
Really?
We're starting right off with technical difficulties. That's beautiful.
But no, we're technically fine.
All right. So here, Dave, as a matter of fact, I'll give you my phone. It's right there.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So anyways, quick recap of the series. So game 1, Comets came out a little flat to be expected. They were off for 10. I love it. Koyevich, that's great. They were off for 10 days. Came out a little bit flat, but you know what? They went down 2-0 in the first period. But man, did they ever turn it on in the second and the third period. Wow. That team, I'm going to tell you something, in the second and third period, looked like the Comets of the first half of this season.
That was exciting 40 minutes of hockey.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Definitely exciting 40 minutes. Whatever Coach Deneen said to that team in that first intermission, they came out and they just started playing. Started playing hockey. It was the Comets that we knew earlier in the season.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it was great to see. It really was. Nico Dawes, once he got settled in, he played really good. Game 2 was 4 days later. We had another layoff a little bit. Different events going on at the Adirondack Bank Center, but Saturday, it wasn't the best game for the Comets, but they still managed to get it to overtime. And it was a heartbreaking loss. But feeling pretty good. We're split. We're 1-1. Following day, back-to-back, Sunday, we go game 3, and once again, it ended up a 4-3 overtime loss. Overall in this series, what have you seen?
Well, overall, I can tell you this. Let's face it. Rochester's a great team. You and I spoke about that earlier. I mean, we speak to everybody in the ABC when we're there. They're a great team. We can't deny that. Of course, we're Comets fans, so we have to dislike them a lot. And that's just part of the nature of us with being Comets fans. But they're a great team, and we have to give that to them. But we are a better team. and we have to pick it up for tonight and play the way that we know how. And that team that we were very excited to see at the beginning of the year and going into that odd and expecting a win when we went into those games. We expected a win. And I remember even after the first couple losses, it never even fazed us. We were like, oh, well, we knew it was going to happen. Okay.
Right.
Then as season went on, we kind of started saying, oh, I hope we win tonight. And things changed a little bit. We've talked about their style of play. Things have changed a little bit on the ice on how they're playing. And, we could see that. And we've talked about that. And I see it in the forums all the time. But overall, they're still the same guys. They're still the same guys. We've got pretty much everyone that we've played with at the beginning of the year. And I think I think they're wise enough. And I know Coach Deneen is wise enough to instill that into our players that tonight is do or die. And I think that he's got it in those players to fire them up for tonight's game.
Absolutely.
So I'm expecting a win tonight. I'm not saying that as a Comets fan. I mean, I'm saying that as I'm expecting them to win based on knowing their caliber of play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you touched on it very well when you said that, Rochester really is a great team. We were just talking about before we went on the air, there's no way they really should have finished fifth in the North Division.
No.
They had some stumbles along the way, defensively, injury-wise, call-ups to the Sabres, what have you. But they're an explosively offensive team. I mean, once that team's rolling, nobody wants to get in the way of that offense.
No.
But like I said, they're beatable. The defense really isn't that great, to be honest with you. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but I'm just saying that if there's an Achilles heel, it's that. So we had a few things happen, though.
And Barry's got the question for the first one. He says, what about Russo getting the one game?
We were just about to talk about that. I
knew you were going to do that.
Just about to bring that up, actually. So 14 seconds left. Sunday's game 3. It was 3-3. And Robbie Russo. I'm looking at this. Robbie Russo got called for an illegal check to the head. Took a 2-minute penalty. Rochester scored in the ensuing power play in overtime. The league announced today that he was suspended for 1 game, meaning tonight. What do you think about that?
Well, we got to face it. Russo's been a great player for us. And, anytime we lose any of our players for whatever reason, it's going to hurt. But again, I believe in our team. I believe in Coach Deneen. I believe that he can. I believe that there's guys there that can step up and fill in, and take that role that Russo has been doing. I just feel as though we're going to be stepping up our game tonight, and I think we're going to see a different team out there than we have seen for the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, though, the defense suddenly, the ranks got thinned out a little bit. Riley Walsh hasn't played since game 1. Undisclosed injury. We don't know if he's in tonight. We're going to be keeping an eye on that Comets Twitter like a hawk while we're watching this, because they like to come out with the starting lineups about half an hour prior to the game. So, and of course, Riley Walsh being out is huge.
Yeah.
It is absolutely huge. I'm going to tell you, I've been saying this for most of the season now. Riley Walsh is one of the, if not the most important player on the Comets. And people look at me and go, are you nuts? What about DeLille? What about Zeteron? What about Holtz? What about Dawsey, Schmidt? You're right. All fantastic. They are. And they're very important cogs of this team. But when Riley Walsh is going is when the Comets are really going.
Yeah.
Because when Riley Walsh is on his game, which he's been most of the season, they are able to get those breakouts out of that zone. That transition from defense to offense is smooth as glass. Right.
Well, that's going to be the key is our transition from defense to offense. That's what that's what we had at the beginning of the year. It put the opposing players' defense on alert and it created errors on their part that we took advantage of. and that's changed a little bit right now. But I agree with you with Riley Walsh that he's brought excitement to the team when he's been out there. He's making things happen.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And I'll tell you that with Walsh in the lineup, we were talking about this before we came on the air too. When the Comets are going, they're not dumping and chasing. They're attacking the zone with speed. And that is so key. And Riley Walsh is a huge part. Robbie Russo is too. Yeah. Robbie, it's like a 1A, 1B kind of situation as far as the Comets attack from defense onto offense.
Is there an appeal process for him? Like the NHL? This is from Barry.
Yeah. I think there is. I don't think the Comets exercised it.
Okay.
Listen, that's their discretion. There was some discrepancy in the view on that.
Did you think it was?
Well, here's the thing, right? So Coach Dineen said it wasn't a dirty hit. It was kind of two players coming together. And let's be honest, Robbie Russo has a reputation of being a very clean player. He's never made a dirty play. He's not a headhunter. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think he was out to hurt Michael Mersch at all.
So it should have leaned his way.
So, they gave him the penalty. Okay, you have to do what you have to do. But here's the thing, right? From the AHL level, we only get one view of the play. That's it. Right. Whereas if this happened at the NHL level, you would have 17 different views, right? Yep. In slow-mo, backwards mode, all this.
Helmet cam.
Right.
Yeah.
The AHL, it's extremely hard to tell because you have the one view, and it's usually from right about where Josh and I are sitting, right? Yep. It's not like it's along the glass or anything like that. So from the one view that I saw, it almost looked like they both kind of just came together and Russo kind of turned. It almost looked like maybe he was trying to brace himself.
Right.
I really don't believe that he would be, and especially think about this for a second, right? 14 seconds left in regulation in a 3-3 game in a playoff game.
He's not looking.
Do you really think that he's going to try to take Michael Mersch's head off?
No.
Now, I would understand if the game was like 6-1, right? Out of frustration and aggravation. Okay, well, maybe you go, but 3-3, a playoff game. Winner takes the lead in the series and a best of 5 series, by the way. There's no way Russo was looking to take his head off or hurt him.
Yeah.
No way.
Especially with so little time left on the clock.
That's what I mean.
At that point,
that's what I mean.
At that point, you're pretty much protecting your own net, hoping to maybe get a shot on the opposing. But at that point, you're playing to go to overtime.
Right. Exactly. And that's what you're looking for. And unfortunately, the heartbreaking part about it was too, is the Comets almost killed that.
Yeah.
Almost. But man, Schmid came up with a huge save against Peterka. Peterka had enough time to order a sub and have it delivered. That's how much time he had, right? And man, did Akira come up huge. And unfortunately, listen, there wasn't much he was going to do with that goal that Rutzlainer scored. Not much at all. Nope. There he is. All right.
I just had so much news go on with the Devils in the last half hour that I had to get on that before I could jump on, because we just found out that our play-by-play voice on television has stepped down after 11 years. So,
no kidding.
And also our president of hockey operations, I believe, also stepped down. So, it's just so much going on that I don't even know what to feel anymore. But great to see everybody as always.
Well, for those of you who don't know somehow, this is the one, the only, the incomparable host of the Devil's State of Mind podcast, Mr. Neil Villapiano.
Welcome, Neil.
What's going on, guys?
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, there we go. You got to put in the fake crowd noise. Just
we're pumping in noise. That's it. So
I love it.
So, Neil, we were just talking about the end of Game 3 between the Amerks and the Comets.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking loss. We were just discussing the Russo suspension. I know you saw the news. Did you see the hit that caused the suspension?
Yeah, and I don't think it was worth the suspension, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah,
I think that I just honestly it was, these last 2 games have been well, what else could go wrong type of thing. It's kind of interesting because, granted, I haven't been able to watch any of the games live. I get a lot of updates and then I watch the highlights when when they show them. it's kind of just surprising to see how this is not the same Utica team I saw earlier. Like, it just seemed like a completely different team all of a sudden. And I don't know if it's just because of the expectation and the pressure of what they were able to accomplish in the regular season and up until now. Are they facing just a better overall team in Rochester? I mean, there's a lot of questions. As far as the Russo hit is concerned, I don't really understand. Like, I don't know how you make a suspension like that now for a hit that, honestly, I've seen worse in NHL games that weren't even suspensions either. Finding him is fine. I mean, if you want to go down that route, but to take out somebody who's been as valuable throughout the entire season through the ups and downs as Robbie Russo has been, it's kind of a shocker to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. And of course you don't ever want to see anybody get hurt. And, no. I hope Michael Mersch makes a very quick recovery because, regardless whether you hate the team that you're playing at the time, obviously you don't want to see anybody get hurt, but it's like Josh and I were just talking. Robbie Russo has a very clean reputation. And I don't see him headhunting with 14 seconds left in a tie playoff game.
It's like his first offense. Was it really worth giving him a game suspension for that? I mean, it just kind of, it seemed like over the top to me. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Wasn't the power play that ended the game enough of a punishment, right? But
yeah.
God.
Yeah. I feel like, it's one of those things where like I laugh only because like sometimes when I watch the comments, like especially during these playoffs, I think about how like the Devils have done so many of the similar things that I'm starting to wonder if because of what happened, because some of these young kids went up and played with us for a couple of games, and I'm like, oh crap, did it start to wear?
No, they didn't bring it back with them.
which obviously, Scott, you witnessed in person what it's like. So I'm kind of like fearful of that. But I honestly I feel relatively confident going into game 4. Like the way I look at it is that if the Comets are able to force a game 5 back in Utica, I think they win the series. Because quite frankly, I think that knowing how loud that crowd is in Utica and how you guys constantly bring it every single game, I think knowing, and Kevin Dineen knows this, if they bring it back to the barn, as I like to call it, I don't know why I call it that, but I call it that. If they bring it back for game 5, I think Rochester's going to crumble. And the biggest thing for me, I would say to Utica is that please don't give up a goal within the first 30 seconds of the game or something like that. Like I watched enough Devils games this year where we gave up a goal in the first minute where it's like, okay, you don't need to, you really shouldn't be doing that. You need to get off to a better start.
Right. And I mean, that's not a backbreaker, but boy, it's a deflator. No,
it puts you in a tough position right away. Like, in game 1, they got off to a rough start, but they came back and won.
Right.
Game 2, that wasn't the case. That just wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Game 3, again, they looked better, but at times, again, Rochester always seemed to have an answer. You have to find a way. Like Kevin Dineen has to find a way to get these guys going right away and don't let up. Don't let up the energy. Keep being aggressive. Get more pucks to the net. Because sometimes I'm seeing these guys, they're not shooting the way that they should. Get more pucks to the net. Get in front of. This is Aaron Dell we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, okay? He is not God's gift to hockey, okay? He's not. There's a reason he's playing in the minor leagues right now. There really should be no excuse as to why the Comets cannot put more shots on him. I mean, he's going to give up some goals, and I think it's important for the Comets to come out and be aggressive right away, especially in a hostile environment.
Right. And I think they need to get more traffic in front of the net.
Oh,
because Dell's stealing all these shots.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. And, you mentioned giving up the early goals, which I totally agree. I mean, like we said, that's a deflator. But the Comets have got a little bit of a decision to make. We're going to find out what the decision is. Who starts in goal tonight? Is it Akira Schmid or is it Nico Dawes?
I was kind of surprised that Dawes didn't play in game 3. They went with Schmidt.
Really?
I was a little bit
back-to-back?
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I looked at it was, first of all, it's the playoffs, and you got to stick with what got you there. And to be fair to Schmidt, towards the end of the season, he played a lot more because Nico Dawes had to come up and save the Devils at least for the last month of the season. But I honestly, looking at it again and looking how Schmidt played in game 3, I think honestly it isn't a bad decision to go back to him tonight for game 4.
What do you think, Josh? Oh, I'm sorry.
I agree.
Go ahead. No, it's fine.
I agree with you, Neil. I mean, Schmidt's been playing very well. The open shots are because Rochester created those those openings to get those shots. So it's not, even with Jason Shia saying, talking on NHL, saying, they were in the position to take those shots. Mm-hmm. And that has nothing to do with Schmidt at all, or if it were Dawes in goal, right? It doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where, because when Schmidt was up in the NHL, it was kind of the same deal where he was he was very strong in net. He had so many situations where the lanes that were just opening up for the opposition to just shoot the puck. Mm-hmm. Look, after a while, those pucks are going to end up in the back of the net because these guys are way too talented not to put the puck in the back of the net. So I think the biggest thing from a defensive standpoint, regardless of whether you have Dawes or Schmidt in net, is that you have to find a way to just create more traffic on the defensive side. You need to block more shots. You need to get in front of these guys and make it more difficult. Mm-hmm. You're allowing these guys to just part the Red Sea, basically. You're allowing them to get point-blank A-plus opportunities to score. And are they going to score every single time? No, but 9 times out of 10, they're most likely going to. I mean, Rochester has young, talented players as well coming up in their system. So it's not like we're the only ones here. So it's more of a matter of, I'm not against starting either one. I'm not against starting Merrick's Mittens if you want to get all crazy and whatnot. I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't think that's going to. I think he's hurt, actually.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm making more of
I was just going to say, there it is right there.
That is great. I actually love that. I love that very much. But to me, it's all about this. Both Dawes and Schmidt have shown time and time again that they could be true number ones for this team. And I don't think for the rest of the team, it matters who you start. What's important is that you have to play stronger in front of either one of them. You have to give them a chance to make those necessary saves, because that's the difference between winning and losing, especially in the playoffs, regardless of whether it's the NHL, the AHL, or even in the Olympics. It's all about making sure your goaltender is making those necessary saves to win you those games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And really, I mean, game 3, the goals that Schmidt gave up, he didn't have much of a chance on.
No.
At all. I mean, it was just, it wouldn't have mattered who you had in there. I mean, you could have had a Hall of Famer in there. It was going, Marty Brodeur wasn't going to stop those shots.
No,
right?
It wasn't. No.
But Neil, you bring up an interesting point where you're talking about the chances that Rochester's creating. And what Rochester's doing right now is what the Comets did so well all season long. Those cross ice, keep the lanes moving, opening up spaces. And so if they can get back to that, that's a huge key right there. And they're going to have to do that tonight. I want to bring something up, and I thought this was a little interesting. I was doing a little research today, and this game, in my opinion, is going to come down to special teams, right? So the Comets, for the Calder Cup playoffs, now, keep in mind, for the Comets, it's a shorter sample size than the Americans, right? Because the Americans had the 2-game play-in. But right now, the Comets have the best power play in the American Hockey League at 60% for the playoffs, right? The Amherst are 4th. They're at 30%. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Penalty kill. Mm-hmm. The Comets have the worst penalty kill in the league, right? At 50%. The Amherst are the second worst at 63.6. So this game could very well come down to who's going to take more penalties.
That's a good question.
Right?
It's a very good point. I mean, it's
now, is Rochester going to come up fired up because of what happened to Mersch and maybe start getting a little bit more aggressive than they need to? We don't know.
It's possible, but I think also you have to keep it this way. You have to remember this as well. Rochester knows that they are in a very good position right now because, they're up 2-1 against one of the best teams in the league and has a chance to pull off a very, very big upset at home. They already stole a game in Utica, so now they have the opportunity to get both games at Rochester and move on. And so that they might be a little bit more jazzed up, maybe a little bit more tense because of the pressure of what they could actually do. But I also would expect Kevin Dineen, like I said before, to really just try to get this team, like you mentioned, Scott, to getting back to where they were playing earlier in the year where they were dominating teams. Because Rochester is just throwing Utica's game right back in their face. And it's a matter of they have to recognize that and understand, okay, they want to play that way. Well, let's play that way. Let's go back to what we know best and let's go attack them that way. And how are they doing that? Putting the puck on net as much as possible. Okay. I saw AJ Greer have a 4-goal game this year. It is not out of the realm of possibility that AJ Greer can't get 7 or 8 shots tonight. You have Alexander Holtz, who might still be dealing with an injury. Let's just, he might still be dealing with that. But at the same time, he has the ability, as we've seen all year long, to put the puck in the back of the net at will. Same thing with Fabian Zeteron. But the other thing that I feel like we don't talk about enough in playoff hockey is that it's not always the top guys that have to be the ones to step up. It's other guys that you don't expect, that you don't think are going to be, the main guys. And I'll give you one guy that has played a total of 2 games this entire season, and both of them have been in the playoffs. And that is Shakir Mukhamadullin, who just came over to North America. And the reason why I mentioned him is because look at how big he is. We talk about Kevin Ball, right? We talk about how massive Kevin Ball is.
Who's out?
Ball's out.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Got to do it.
Exactly. But look at Shakir. Look how big he is for a guy that young. And he has the ability to really, really set up things. He's already gotten a couple points. He's fitting in very, very well. Yep. So I think for Shakir, especially because, look, he played in one of the hardest leagues in hockey in the KHL for a couple of years. So he has experience against playing some very, very tough competition. I think for him, although, again, this is only going to be, if he plays tonight, it's going to be his 3rd game since, playing in North America. I think he needs to take a bigger role, especially on special teams, if they give him that opportunity. I would love to see him at the top of the blue line on the power play taking shots because he has the ability to do so. Well, I want to see that.
Hey, got 2 comments here. Kevin says the comments have got to come out with all cylinders, but Barry says Mersch is not listed among the players playing tonight.
Yeah, they were saying that there was a possibility he was going to be out. Yeah. So, which... I mean, like I said, you never want to see anybody get hurt, but let's hope for a quick recovery. But it's funny. You mentioned Mukhamadullin. By the way, I have to say something. I'm always saying, speaking of Rochester, that Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is like the funnest name in the league to say. Yeah. Shakir Mukhamadullin is getting close. There it is. There it is, right?
And I think to this day, none of us have been able to properly pronounce his last name because I've heard it said about 4 different times. And I'm like, somebody's just got to ask him. I mean, he may not know English very well, but there's got to be a way where you can ask him how to pronounce his name properly. Because I keep getting told, because I'll mention his name a bunch on the podcast, and people will tell me, "Oh no, it's pronounced this way," and I'm like, "You guys are changing it up every time. Someone got to tell me which one it is, or I'm going to lose it over here." I'm really getting frustrated with it because I pride myself on pronouncing these names correctly, and the other thing that's funny about Shakir is that look how small his name has to be shrunk.
I know. They have to go with a smaller font to fit it all in, right?
It's not the old days. It's not the old days from like 30, 40 years ago where it's just going to droop down to the back, to the shoulder blades with his name. But yeah, again, Shakir's somebody that I think could really be a force that can fit, that it's already fitting in very, very well with the team. And again, Kevin Dineen just has to get these guys to get back to where they were playing earlier in the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, Josh and I saw Mukhamadullin. We'll say it like that until we're told otherwise. Yep. We saw his debut at game 1 at the Adirondack Bank Center. And you know what? Smooth skater. And tell you what, Kevin Dineen has a ton of confidence in him because that first Comets power play, he was out there with the first unit.
Right.
And guess what he got? The primary assist on AJ Greer's goal. So it was a beautiful pass, just a nice set that right in the wheelhouse for Greer, and man, and he just hammered it right between Dell's legs. So
good.
So yeah, and obviously what we were talking about is, with Russo being out for sure, we don't know about Riley Walsh yet. I got to check Utica Comments Twitter here. Take a look. And,
I didn't see any. I just checked.
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. All right.
Yeah, no, you're not going to get anything till I would say till about like 10 minutes before the game.
Well, they like to put that starting lineup out, so that's why I was kind of trying to keep an eye on that. But
we'll keep an eye as the hour goes by.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously if those two are out, somebody on the defense has got to step up. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
You're right.
I'm actually expecting a good game out of Nikita Holtz tonight. Talk about another name that's a little bit difficult and get used to saying,
Yep.
But, he looked very good when he was in a short time with New Jersey. And I think given the opportunity, I think he's going to really take this chance and run with it. There it is. Yep. He's going to be back in. He wasn't in game 3. Obviously, he's going to be back in tonight. So a lot of changes on the back end. Love that. He's so awesome.
Well, you've seen all the props. It's funny. We all of us up in Ball's Army, especially when Kevin got called up, we were like, Ball's removed.
Yeah.
So we had nothing. We had nothing to go on. So we had to come up with something. Of course, Mittens was in, so we went with the oven mitts with a nice save. And then with Vukovic, we ended up turning it into a drinking game. So we created these, and every time Michael Vukovic touches the puck, we drink and salute. So everybody up in 203, when he touches the puck, you hear someone yell Vukovic, and everybody salutes, and we drink.
So that's why security's up there in section 203 by the third period.
So we've been doing whatever we can up there to keep everyone alive. Because once ball got removed, we sat there going, what are we doing? And so we had to come up with new things.
You guys aren't going to petition New Jersey to make sure he doesn't get called up next year, are you?
Yeah. You know what? That's look. We understand AHL is the development league, and look, we want what's best for all those players. And
Absolutely.
If Kevin earns the right to be up in New Jersey, God bless him. Get up there and have fun. I just hope that what we've done down here with the Balls Army will continue up that way.
Well, I'll tell you. It's funny. Side story about that. I actually met Kevin Ball's dad down in New Jersey. The game that Neil and I were watching together.
And and also he didn't talk to him after that.
It was like because I was repping the Balls Army down in New Jersey, right? So it was funny. So I got my Balls Out shirt on.
Awesome.
Right?
Thank you.
Here I am, New Jersey, full of Devils fans and all that. Well, a lot of them don't know about Balls Army, so some of them were looking at me with a Balls Out shirt, pulling their kids a little bit closer, like, just stay away from that guy, like, wait, no, it's Balls Army.
What a perv.
Like, this isn't, no, you don't understand, right? So, first intermission, I was light at the concession stand. I was going to get some nachos or something or other, and I hear this guy come up from behind me. He goes, "Hey, nice shirt." I turn around, I'm like, oh my goodness, right? I mean, how big Kevin Ball is, right? Well, that's where he gets it from. I'm like his dad. I'm like, whoa. And he's like, hey, he goes, I like that shirt. He goes, where can I get one? I go, and so I started telling the story about the Balls Army and all that. He says to me, he goes, I got to order a bunch of those. And I know who he is. I've been his father for 22 years. I said, that's all. So you might know a little about him,
Barry says they're coming out now to the music of I Am a Real American, Hulk Hogan's entrance music.
Yes, that's what Rochester's been doing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of which, too, I really used to like that song Freeze Frame by the Jake Giles Band.
Yeah.
Used to love it. Now I hate it.
Great. It's like, I used to like it. Now I don't.
Yeah, now all of a sudden that just went back.
I'm going to let you guys know right now. Utica Comets just posted that the players have just taken the ice for warm-ups. It's Nico Dawes, by the way.
Oh.
Whoa.
Went back to Dawes.
Went back to Dawes.
He wears 35 down
Correct.
in – Yeah, so that's him. Yeah, he wears – I wonder why he wears 50 when he's with us. I don't know. This doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
But, it's going to be Nico Dawes tonight. In the comments. So
awesome, exactly. So you know what? Getting back to those comments, let's. By
the way, out of Scott, I asked you this question. You still haven't answered it. Where's my shirt?
I'm working on it. Josh, you got to help me out here.
All right. The balls out shirt?
I dropped the balls on that one.
He said he would give me one, and I'm like, okay.
I know, but I forgot to bring it with me.
Take it off your back and give him the one.
I was going to bring him my shirt. I was like, oh, man. I got past Albany. I'm like, I forgot it. It's sitting at the house. This is, man.
Sting, when I come up to Utica, you better have it then.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's going to be your incentive.
There you go.
That's your incentive. I'm gonna hold your balls out shirt over your head.
I actually had a friend that went to game 2 and 3. She went to game. She had never been to Utica. That was her experience. her first experience. And she went to Utica, and then she also went to Rochester as well. And I think the one thing that she mentioned out of everything was that the difference between the arenas was like kind of interesting. But I just thought it was funny because she was like, oh yeah, when you look at like Utica's arena, it looks more like a college arena. Then you go to Rochester and it's so nice. It's so pure. And I'm just like, but that's what makes Utica's arena so cool, is that it's like, it's old school. Like I think of it like the old Nassau Coliseum kind of thing. It's like, it's
Right.
that vibe, and I think that's actually like kind of cool.
Exactly. And plus, part of Slapshot was filmed there. I mean, come on.
I know.
I mean,
she's gonna text me like after this because she's probably watching this. And like, why did you just like call me out?
Well, listen,
Neil, just tell her your balls are up here, so she can't mess with you.
Whoever she is, don't worry about it. Neil didn't change the name to protect the innocent. Okay,
I didn't say the name, did I?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but you know who you are.
Yeah. So going into this must-win, do or die game 4, just so everybody knows, our leading scorers for our Comets are AJ Greer. He's got 4 goals and 1 assist and 11 shots in this series. Our second leading scorer was Robbie Russo, 2 goals, 2 assists. Third is Fabian Zeteron. Zeddy has got 1 goal and 3 assists, and he's taken 14 shots. So, to be honest with you, I tonight am expecting a big game out of Fabian Zeteron. The shots are there, the chances are there, and you know he's going to be extra amped up for this game tonight. There's going to be no denying that. We did mention Holtz, and again, this is not to blame Alexander Holtz one bit. This has been, it's a team thing, right? He does only have 1 assist, and he's got the 8 shots so far. So I'm almost kind of wondering if they need to scheme a little bit to get him more open. Because right now it doesn't seem like he's getting the opportunities, right? So there's that. And Chase DeLeo, too. I think Chase DeLeo is going to have that breakout game tonight because so far in this series, yes, he struggled. But you know what? Chase DeLeo is way too talented to be held pointless for this entire series. Way too much talent there. So I'm expecting a huge game out of DeLeo, and I'm expecting a huge game out of Zetterlund. How about you guys? Any other players you're thinking going to be
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this guy, but he's been a silent guy, and he's one of our assistant captains. But Gambredale, Joe Gambredale. If you watch Joe play hockey, he's always trying to go towards that puck. That puck goes behind that. He's going in there and doing whatever he can to get control of that puck. I love that guy's hustle. I love the fact, he's a veteran, but I love the fact that he loves the game and he's doing whatever he can to continue playing that game, at 28, 29 years old. He's out there, he's playing, but he's hustling his ass off. And it's great to see him. It's great to watch him out there because he's doing what he can to lead that team. And I think he earned that assistant captain. I think he earned that A, and I'm glad he's got that. But he's a great guy to watch.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And he's another one, right? The chances have been there. He's been kind of snake bitten in the series so far. He really has. Neil, how about you?
When I look at when I just look at the team and I look at which guys need to come up a little bit and try. Like I mentioned Shakir before. I think that and I'm a goalie guy. I did play goalie for a while. I do expect a big game from Nico Dawes. The way that I've seen Dawes play, just from my own experience of him playing in the NHL, is that this kid has a really good ability to bounce back after having a rough game. Even if he may not win the game, the next game he plays, immediately he's playing better. Immediately that he's trying to refocus himself. And I think, you look at Dawes, he understands it's do or die tonight. And he knows that, when you're in the playoffs, you need your goaltenders to come up big, especially in elimination games. And Dawes knows that he has to find a way to come up with some saves tonight, especially if the defense continues to play a little bit lackluster. But it's one of those things that I expect Dawes to bounce back from his last game and be able to play a little bit stronger in net tonight. And I think that he's going to be the main catalyst for. I like that you mentioned Gambredale because, again, he's a guy that really, like you mentioned, just he's everywhere. Like he will go everywhere and try to get that puck. He's relentless with it. You know, a lot of people in the last 24, 48 hours are cracking on William Nylander for the Maple Leafs about, you know, the fact that he's afraid to get hit sometimes and he doesn't go full 100% all the time. Joe is the complete opposite of that. Joe will just go like body first into somebody, regardless of what's going on in the situation. So I like that. And you need scrappy guys like that in those pressure-packed, you know, games on the line moments to get those pucks to set up for your offensive guys. And the last guy that I expect to have a big night tonight is Fabian Zeteron. I really think Zeteron tonight is going to have a big game. I'm expecting 2 goals from him tonight.
Wow. All right.
Oh, even calling out 2 goals. Nice. I like it.
Kevin says,
I like that, Neil.
Yeah, Kevin says he's not sure about Dawes protecting the net tonight. He thought Schmidt played well in the last game, and not to mention how he held down the post while Dawes was up.
We have the lineup.
The fort. Sorry.
Oh, we got a lineup?
Oh, good.
We have the lineup. All right. So, first line is Greer, DeLeo, Zetterlund. Not surprised.
All right.
Foote, Flynn, and Thompson is the second line. Gambredale, Schmelzer, and Holtz. Holtz on the third line.
Yep, just like last game.
Yep. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this name right. Is it LeBerge?
LeBerge, yep.
Yes.
LeBerge, Talvite, and Clark.
Talvite, yep.
Fourth line. Nikita and Ball. The 2 number 80s are top pairing defensive core. Vukushevich and Witherspoon is the second pairing. And then Mukamadun and Grolo is the third pairing. And then Dawes is starting with Schmidt as the backup.
Wow. Okay.
That is the projected lines for the Comets in tonight's game.
So no changes. No changes from game 3 other than Robbie Russo being out. And Michael Vukovic coming in for him. Well, hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do, right? Now, granted, it'd be awful hard to pick one player to take out, but is there anybody that's not playing that you think should be in tonight? Josh, I'll go to you first.
I have to figure out who's not playing. That's the only problem.
You know, look, I know Kevin Denis went with the team that he knows is going to win this.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say, hey, here's someone who should be in there. I have an unfair
question. I know.
I have to stick with. He's the coach, and he's the one who's there day in, day out for their practices. I'm not there. I'm here. So I'm just gonna support his choice because he's the coach.
Fair enough. Absolutely. And you know, I mean, that lineup that they've got right there is your firepower, right? So, you know, Graham Clark, by the way, we kind of forget about him. He's back, right? He missed a lot of time with injury. He actually missed game 1, and then he's back in the lineup for 2 and 3. That kid, when he gets going, can score at will as well. So, you know, very valid point right there, Josh, that you gotta put the best lineup out there. And what they need to do is score goals. They got to, right? So, I mean, there's just no denying that. But yeah, I think this is going to be the winning lineup. I do.
You gotta do what you think is necessary, especially in these type of games. You got to do what you think makes the most amount of sense. And I think, and look, we all trust Denis at the end of the day because a lot of the things he's done since the season started have worked, and he's built a really, really good formula. And I think that you have to come out and you have to, like I said, be aggressive, and it has to be all 4 lines. It has to be. It can't be 2 or 3 guys making plays. It has to be everybody contributing in one way or another. Not necessarily always everybody has to put the puck in the back of the net. It's guys doing little things. And again, the other thing is this: when you're down in the series, when you're down to your last lick, you're going to be super desperate. You're going to make plays that maybe you wouldn't normally make because you're trying everything. And that's, I think, what you're going to see tonight from Utica. I think they're going to take chances. I expect the defense to be up in the play a little bit more than what you normally expect, and I just expect them to be much more aggressive than they've been, even more than you saw in game 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think there's definitely a lot to be said. The forecheck has got to be heavy tonight. Got to be. There's just no denying that. And another thing too is got to shut down JJ Peterka. Yep. Got to. Because
he might be like the luckiest player I've ever seen. Now, 2 of his goals in this series have been absolutely ridiculous. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right.
What was it? The hat-trick goal was like absurd. It just
Yeah.
Was it the one? Which one was the one?
It was the second goal.
Yeah, it was the second.
It was the second goal.
Like,
yeah.
That's the other thing that I like. I don't try to be biased. I try to be fair. But it just does anyone else beside me think that Rochester has gotten a few more bounces than normal?
Oh yeah,
feel like that, or am I just?
It's true. They have got some bounces, but to be perfectly honest with you, they're creating the pressure to get those bounces.
Right.
True.
Which the Comets, I have a feeling, will turn the tables tonight and do the exact same thing.
And like we talked about before, if the Comets are back to where they were early in the season, they're playing exactly the way they're capable of playing. They're going to win these next two games, no problem.
Yep,
they're going to. And
right.
I think the Americans know that if they have to go back to Utica for Game 5, that they're in very big trouble. They're very because that crowd's going to be ready to go for Game 5.
Well, there might not be a roof left.
Well, Barry said there's a lot of shirts in Rochester, a lot of red shirts. So
nice.
Yep. So
really?
They may get some harassment even out there.
Hey, listen, that's what though? Good. I mean, out there repping. Yep. Love it. That's awesome. Any closing thoughts, guys? We got about 10 minutes to go before game time, so we're going to start wrapping up because I know I want to get in front of that TV and watch this game and grab the beverage of my choice. Closing thoughts, guys. Josh, you first.
Well, I just got to say, again, thank you for having us on here. So far, and I'll say so far, it's been a great season, and I'm looking to continue that in our next home game. But again, thank you for having us on here. This has been fantastic. It's been a great year, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out at the ABC at the next home game after tonight's game.
Thursday night, we're looking at it. Neil, how about you?
Considering how bad the Devils season was, please keep playing. Honestly, I can't. I've had too much disappointment this season. Please keep playing because I don't want it to be the off season just yet. Although I've basically been in off season mode, but no, I mean, again, look, like Josh mentioned, it's really been a great year. Honestly, it's been such a bright spot for a lot of us Devils fans up here in New Jersey, seeing those kids, playing so well, seeing how much the city of Utica has embraced that team and embraced these players. And it makes us feel very proud, and it makes us excited for what is to come for not just the rest of this season, but moving forward for these guys. I mean, you're going to see a lot of these guys at our development camp in the summer. And that's an exciting thing. And I'm looking forward to seeing those guys in person and, what they can bring long-term to this organization. And again, there's nothing like playoff hockey. And, but it's even better when you got a team in it. I mean, I could say that watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, they've been great. Do not get me wrong. We've had some great series so far. Round 2 begins tonight, but it's much better and it's much more exciting when you got a team in it. And so, like Josh said, it's been a great season so far. And the Comets should worry about nothing else but just the next shift, the next period, one game at a time. And look, all you got to do is win tonight. You win tonight, you put yourself in the driver's seat going home. You have the momentum, you got the crowd, and there's nothing saying you can't go into Rochester tonight and get the dub, and there's nothing saying you can't win the next 2 games. If Tampa can come back from down 3-2 to the Toronto Maple Leafs and win the whole series, there's nothing saying that the Comets can't do the same thing. So that's the way I look at it. And as always, it's such a pleasure to come on here and hang out and talk with all of you lovely individuals.
Well, we love having you on. And you know what? We didn't even get you fired up this time.
No.
But you know what? Real quick, I do want to ask you, you mentioned the development camp coming up in the summer.
Yeah.
In your professional opinion, which of the Comets on this team are going to be starting in New Jersey next season?
Oh, that's actually really tough because there's so many different guys. I think definitely Kevin Ball, because he's been called up numerous times last year and certainly this year. And this year he got a couple of points, he got a goal, he's contributing. So I think Ball is ready to take that next step, honestly. And
take our balls. Take our balls.
I'll start the Balls Army community in New Jersey. So we'll get it going so that it's not as
don't let it die.
Right. So I would say like Kevin Ball. I think Zeteron because of what he can bring, certainly on like the bottom six, his speed and goal scoring ability. I think he can definitely be a guy that can compete for a job. Alexander Holtz, I think for a lot of us, we expect Alexander Holtz. I think we'd be disappointed if he wasn't on the team next year. But I think that the Devils really, really want him on the team next year because being the 7th overall pick in his draft and having this goal scoring ability and constantly talking about how he wants to model himself after Alexander Ovechkin just makes all of us fans want to see that, that actually come to fruition. So I would say the three guys I'm thinking of are Ball, Zetterlund, and Holtz.
Good choices. Good choices.
And I'll give you an underrated one as well that I think when I look at it, and this is such a far one, but for some reason, Grolot like really intrigues the hell out of me because of his defensive abilities. Because here's the thing, we're going to need a little bit more defense going into next season because guys like Subban are going to be gone. And I don't know if we're going to be looking for a veteran defenseman to kind of fill that role, but I'm just saying, and Grolot has been with the organization for quite some time now. And and the Devils organization seems to very much like him. So that would be a guy that would be like an under the radar because Dawson Mercer was like that this year. Like we didn't expect Mercer to be on the team.
Right. He was supposed to be in Utica.
And he was the only guy that played all 82 games for us this season. He played all 82 games. And he's still playing right now, playing for Canada in the World Championships right now. So that would be a guy that I would put him as my under the radar guy that you don't expect. Because every year there's that guy you don't expect. Whether it's a rookie or a veteran. Jimmy Vesey was that guy, I think, in many ways for us. Signed a PTO and was on the Devils all season long. So that would be an under the radar guy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, before we go, I mean, without question, we have to thank the Balls Army. And we got some cards here we got to show. First of all, it's Epic DJ Service. Scott Schuster couldn't make it tonight. He's coaching his Little League team, but there he is right there. It's the Epic DJ Service. If you need a DJ, get a hold of Scott. He's 315-219-3568. Like I say, every show, if you ever seen this guy in action at the Adirondack Bank Center, you want him DJing your event. Let me tell you something. And, of course, I'm just going to let Josh talk about his business. Go ahead, Josh. Read it right off for us.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guy. And quickly, I'm just going to say I have to give a shout out to the rest of the Balls Army. Scott, Obi, Paul, Mark, Greg, and Eugene. I'm hoping to see you guys on Thursday night. But Scotty, I appreciate you putting this up there. I'm very excited. I'm entering my 10th year in June as a home inspector here. So being in business for 10 years is a very exciting spot for me. And as a home inspector in Central New York, I've just always been raised to just do it right. And I'll never get in trouble. So I just go out there and do what I can for those buyers of homes out here in Central New York. So I appreciate everybody for supporting me. And, I love that because it's allowed me to give back to the community as well. So thank you.
Beautiful. And if you got to get a hold of Josh, the number was right there on the screen. That's awesome. All right. And of course, Neil, our favorite New Jersey Devils podcast, The Devil's State of Mind. Tell us all about it real quick before we go.
Well, first and foremost, if everybody can leave me a 5-star rating, that would be lovely.
I would leave you a 10-star rating if I could.
Scott, you already did it, so I appreciate it, my friend. I already saw it. But as always, guys, you can check out the Devil's State of Mind podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. I actually was a little bit delayed with this last episode, but I actually just posted a new episode earlier today. So that's out. We talked about a lot of things. And I'll have a special guest actually coming on for Thursday's episode. So stay tuned for that. Cool. You can follow Devil's State of Mind on Twitter at Devil's State, Instagram at Devil's State of Mind. And if you still have a Facebook, you can like us on Facebook as well. So check me out there. Also, make sure to check us out on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, THPN, which we do live watch-alongs.
Those are blast.
Josh is also promoting Balls Army on all socials.
There it is.
But yeah, THPN on YouTube. We're doing live watch-alongs every day during the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm going to be on at least 2 or 3 times this week. I'm on 2 or 3 times every week on there. So, guys, come and hang out with us. Like and subscribe. we're less than 50 subscribers away from 2,000. So if you guys help us out, first and foremost, make sure you like and subscribe to the Marty's Illegal Stick Hockey Podcast here on YouTube. And also, make sure you guys go like and subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Again, THPN. We also do giveaways. We also do giveaways as well. So if you wanna do a little giveaway, if you want to be a part of a giveaway, you got to jump on these streams and hang out with us. So awesome. Make sure to go check me out on there as well.
Awesome. I've hung out with him for 30 minutes. Can I get something?
I'll hit up the boys later on tonight.
Well, listen, when your balls are up here, if you want them, bring something.
You know what? I'll get a THPN shirt for all of you guys, and in exchange for a balls out.
Hey, there you go.
We'll do that.
All right.
It's a deal.
No compromise.
It's a deal.
All right.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we're getting to about 5 minutes away from puck drops. So, in closing, thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate it. We love having you on. We'll have you on again for sure. So everybody knows we're going to do another show this Friday. There's so much going on in the hockey world that we got to get to, but we couldn't today because we got a very important game to play tonight. So Friday night, 6 o'clock, we're going to do another show, talk about everything else that's going on in the hockey world. So you can like Marty's Illegal Stick on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out at martysillegalstick.com and, of course, on YouTube. So
got to do it on TikTok as well.
No, never. So for Josh Amodio, for Neil Villapiano, and for Dave the Save Warner, I'm Scott Kimball. Thanks for listening. Go Comics!
Balls out!
Who's out?